Across the globe, distinct approaches to child-rearing reflect deeply ingrained cultural values and differing philosophies on human development. While many practices may appear unconventional or even alarming to an outsider, they are often rooted in generations of tradition, and in some cases, are increasingly supported by scientific research. Examining 6 such practices from Japan, South Korea, China, Saudi Arabia, India, and Vietnam reveals a spectrum of beliefs about what a child is and how they best learn and grow. These are not necessarily right or wrong answers, but rather different cultural strategies for preparing children for the world. In Japan, the practice of hadashi ho, or barefoot education, challenges common Western notions of protecting children from the elements. In some Japanese nurseries, children remain barefoot indoors and outdoors, regardless of weather conditions. The underlying principle is that the soles of the feet are rich in nerve endings, providing crucial sensory input for balance and spatial awareness. By keeping feet uncovered, children are believed to develop stronger foot structures and improved balance as they receive continuous feedback from their environment. This approach is not merely a recent adoption based on scientific findings. Rather, it stems from a long-held cultural perspective that views children as resilient beings capable of learning through direct physical engagement with the world, rather than as fragile individuals needing constant insulation. South Korea offers a concept known as nunchi, which defies easy translation but encompasses a sophisticated social intelligence. It refers to the subtle art of reading a room, sensing the emotional atmosphere, and understanding unspoken social cues. Korean parents cultivate nunchi from infancy, not through explicit instruction, but by consistently asking children to consider the feelings of others. How do you think she feels right now? This contrasts with some Western parenting styles that prioritize individual expression. Nunchi, conversely, emphasizes developing an antenna for others' emotions, fostering empathy and the ability to navigate social situations with sensitivity. Research increasingly links the accurate perception of others' emotions to stronger interpersonal relationships and reduced conflict, suggesting that this culturally embedded skill has tangible benefits. China's approach, often mischaracterized by the stereotype of the tiger parent, is better understood through the concept of guan. This term encompasses governing, caring for, and loving, often expressed through a strict structure. Contrary to the perception of authoritarianism as coldness, research, such as that by UCLA psychologist Ruth Chow, suggests that many Chinese children experience this structured environment as a form of care and preparation for a challenging world. The underlying belief is that rigorous discipline is not antithetical to affection, but rather a manifestation of it, aimed at equipping children with the resilience needed to navigate life's difficulties. This perspective highlights how cultural frameworks can shape the interpretation of parenting styles, demonstrating that what appears harsh from one viewpoint can be perceived as loving and protective from another. In Saudi Arabia, the concept of the majlis offers a different model for childhood integration. Unlike Western societies where children's activities are often segregated from adult gatherings, Saudi culture frequently includes children in the majlis, the traditional gathering space. Children are present at the edges of adult conversations, participate in greeting guests, and observe social dynamics, including how disagreements are handled and how respect is shown. This immersion is seen as a form of catching social skills, rather than being explicitly taught them. Drawing on principles articulated by Albert Bandura regarding observational learning, this practice allows children to absorb complex social behaviors by witnessing credible adults in action. It presents a stark contrast to the complete separation of childhood from the adult world, which can leave some children with limited exposure to adult social interactions until later in life. India's parenting philosophy is deeply rooted in the ancient concept of samskara, which refers to the imprints that shape an individual's character. The core belief is that character is forged not through grand pronouncements of values, but through the consistent practice of small daily rituals. These include gestures of respect like touching elders' feet, removing shoes before entering a home, eating meals together, and performing simple daily observances. These repetitive actions, performed consistently, are believed to become ingrained aspects of a person's identity. Modern science has come to recognize this phenomenon as implicit learning, where habits and values are absorbed through repeated, often unconscious, practice. India's approach predates scientific naming, demonstrating a long-standing cultural understanding of how identity is sedimented over time. Finally, Vietnam presents a model that emphasizes early responsibility. Practices such as a 2-year-old carrying their own dishes, a 4-year-old briefly supervising a sibling, or a young child running errands are common. This approach is driven by the cultural conviction that responsibility is instrumental in building a person. Delaying the assignment of responsibilities is seen as hindering a child's development. Cross-cultural research, including the work of anthropologist David Lances, suggests that granting children real responsibilities from an early age fosters greater independence and self-reliance. In Vietnam, childhood is not viewed as a period to be shielded from responsibility, but rather as the very time when responsibility should be embraced to cultivate personal growth. These 6 examples illustrate that parenting is not a monolithic practice, but a culturally constructed endeavor. Each approach represents a distinct bet on what a child is and how they best flourish. Japan views children as learners through touch, Korea as developing social sensitivity, China as benefiting from structured care, Saudi Arabia as integrated into the adult social fabric, India as shaped by ritual, and Vietnam as growing through early responsibility. The common thread is that these practices, deeply ingrained and felt as normal by those within the culture, are significant cultural choices made long before an individual can consciously participate in them. Editor's commentary. From an editorial standpoint, the presented cultural parenting practices offer a compelling argument for the relativity of normal child rearing. The analysis effectively highlights how deeply embedded cultural beliefs, rather than solely empirical data, shape fundamental approaches to childhood development. It underscores the importance of understanding these diverse perspectives without immediate judgment, recognizing that each system represents a unique cultural investment in the future generation.